Turei has admitted she lied when she was on a sole parent benefit back in the 1990s. She says life was such a struggle that she decided not to tell Wins she had flatmates helping her pay the rent, and she knew if she did, her benefit could be cut. Going public with the admission of course, a risk for her, and she has acknowledged for her party too. The Labour leader Andrew Little says he has some sympathy for her.
I think it was pretty brave to fess up to that. As a politician, doing that is certainly a very honest thing to do. Certainly not something I would encourage, is to act outside the rules. But I'm not unsympathetic to the fact that, a lot of people on benefits are doing it tough. No one ever got wealthy on a benefit.
National Stephen Joyce wasn't quite so accommodating.
Most New Zealanders, whether they are perhaps on a benefit or paying their taxes, would think they should follow the rules. And I think there'll be a lot of disappointment that she's chosen to come out and say that she didn't follow the rules.
Well, Metiria Turei joins us now from our Auckland studio. Good morning to you.
Kia ora.
Why did you come clean with this over the weekend?
New Zealanders are sick of the poverty that they see every day, and so am I. And we can fix it. But part of it involves telling the real story about what it means to live in poverty like this. The welfare system drives people to make terrible choices, and I was one of those people. If I tell my story about having to choose between lying to Wins about how many flatmates I had and paying the rent, then I think we open up the conversation to say, why should any mother have to do that just to make sure she can do well for her kids?
Okay, this has been 24 years since this happened. You've been in Parliament for, 15 years? We must have debated welfare 10 scores of times since then.
Not enough, actually, to be frank.
Okay, well, fair enough. But why only now? Was it basically to promote your policy?
At some point, we have to be open about what's really going on in welfare, and I think it's been hard to have the conversation because of all of the negative and really destructive comments about beneficiaries, welfare dependency, all of that kind of stuff. Now people, I think, really understand that the safety net is broken and that we need to fix it, and welfare is a critical part of that story. So me telling my story about what my life was like as a beneficiary means that there's somebody that we can talk to, that the public can talk to about what it really means. We can't have beneficiaries doing that because they are too at risk right now of financial sanctions that would remove their benefit completely. I can do it because I have this privileged position, and I have a duty to use my privilege to benefit those who don't have that privilege.
So I just guess I'm asking why you didn't do so previously.
Because I think, again, nobody wants to admit to keeping secrets. Nobody wants to admit to doing something wrong, ever. But New Zealanders just do not want to tolerate this level of poverty anymore, and if telling my story helps to move us to improve the system so that no one has to do that, then I'll take that on. That's my responsibility as a Member of Parliament.
Okay, we'll move on to the broader system in just a sec, but in terms of your own actions, you're on a very good salary now and have been for some time as a leader of a party. Have you given thought to paying any money back?
So if Wins does an investigation, of course I will pay the money back. And I expect that I will hear from them in time. But I'm in a position where I can do that. What's happening now is beneficiaries who were in the same position I was, are being investigated, but these people are still on poverty incomes. These people are still living below the poverty line and having to pay back at $5, $10 a week for an overpayment that might be $1,000, which sounds like nothing to those of us who are on big incomes, but to them it's a huge amount of money, and they shouldn't have to do it. That is the point.
So is the point also, or the message, that it is okay and perhaps encouraging people to tell mistruths to Wins in order to get more money?
No, that's not. What is the message to... The message is to New Zealanders: we must not have a welfare system that requires mothers to choose between lying to Wins and putting food on the table for their kids. We do not have to have a welfare system that does that. We can fix it so that no family is living below the poverty line, so let's do it. This is not a society that any of us should tolerate, where we have people who are falling through the safety net because it's been so badly torn by policies that drive people into poverty and trap them there. We should never have allowed that to happen.
So your policy then is to lift all benefits by 20%?
Yep, and to raise wages and to fix working for families.
20% by what time?
It's within the first 12 months.
Okay, and do you think you're going to be able to get buy-in from Labor to do that?
Well,
is this a realistic?
No, well, this is what goes to the negotiation table, of course, but I think Labor understands too that we can end poverty in this country. They have put out a families package which goes part of the way. I think that we need to be brave about actually ending poverty for those who are the most poor, who are those who are on benefits.
Okay, and you're also looking at lifting the sanctions. So does that mean in their entirety? So if you miss a job interview, if you don't look for work, if you do any of those things that are currently sanctions are in place for, you lift all that?
We'll lift all the financial sanctions which remove money from beneficiaries if they don't comply with whatever rules, because we should never use poverty as a weapon against the most poor. That is a disgraceful thing that the state does now and needs to stop. There's other sanctions around obligations you might have. Yeah, if you're on job seeker, you've got an obligation to go out and look for work and get a job. And we will set up
what happens if you don't?
There'll be an individualised caseworker system.
But you just don't lose any money, though.
You won't lose any money, because why punish the poor with even more poverty? It's ridiculous.
So what is the sanction then?
Well, what we'll do is set up a individualised case management system, which we have had in the past but don't at the moment, so that caseworkers are working specifically with that person to help them figure out what is the best for their life course. It might be getting a job. It might be going into more training and getting an education, like it was for me. It might be just there's a solo mum. She needs to spend time with her kids and raise her kids because she's got no other choices, and that's fine. That's a great job for someone to be doing, is parenting their children. But if we take an approach that says this is the life that you want to build, how do we help you do it, rather than we're going to punish you because you need us and because we can, those are the two choices in welfare I think we have.
I want to move on to the referenda that Winston Peters is promoting in just a second, but just finally to wrap this part of it up, are you saying that in your assessment that the choices faced by many beneficiaries are either to lie to Wins or to not put food on the table? Is that what you're saying?
That is what my choices were. I've talked to many people over the last 20 years for whom that's the choices they've had to make. Since I talked about this issue yesterday and announced our policy, I've had other people who have talked to me about their situation too. So I know that it's common. It's common for women like me, who are now professional women who were on the DPB back in the day. They had to do it too. This is the reality of the welfare system we have now, but we will fix it. Nobody should ever have to lie in order to feed their kids. No one.
Okay. I just want to get your view on Winston Peters' referendum, just the one about abolishing the Māori seats.
Oh, yeah.
Now, he's basically saying that if anyone wants to talk about being in government with him, that this is on the table, and that he pretty much wouldn't countenance a government without it. What is your view on whether we should have a referendum on abolishing the Māori seats?
On this matter, I agree with Shane Jones that the Māori seats should remain for as long as Māori determine that they're necessary. We've done really well under MMP with Māori representation, but we have not improved the circumstances for Māori across the board yet, and that still has to be done. My welfare package actually will help 100,000 Māori in particular, but I think Winston has a very old style view about the Māori seats. He's entitled to it, but I think me and Shane Jones, we're on this together.
Pop quiz question for you before you go. Who had all the Māori seats in 1996?
It was New Zealand. Was it New Zealand first in '96? Yes, I know. I know they've stopped.
100% right.
Yeah.
19 minutes past 7. Thank you very much for joining us. That's
Kia ora.
The co-leader of the Greens, Metiria Turei.
An internal district council has engaged in extremely risky practices. It says one of the most extreme risks is from the chief executive intercepting people's emails without them knowing it. Phil Pennington reports.